Have you ever wondered whether true understanding comes from exploring the depths of the mind or from cultivating wisdom and virtue? Is life shaped by analyzing our thoughts, desires, and subconscious impulses, or by living in harmony with reason, self-discipline, and ethical principles? Imagine a clash of extraordinary minds. Psychology confronting Stoic philosophy, the inner workings of the mind versus the mastery of life. Stay until the end, subscribe now, and witness the debate. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis who unlocked the secrets of the human psyche, versus Seneca, the Stoic philosopher who taught that true strength comes from wisdom and self-control.
Seneca, you speak of wisdom, virtue, and mastery of the self, and I do not dismiss the importance of reasoned living. Yet I argue that before a man can truly govern himself, he must understand the unseen forces within, the unconscious mind, the desires, fears, and impulses that shape behavior far more than conscious thought ever can. Discipline and virtue are admirable goals, but if they ignore the hidden currents of the psyche, they risk being applied superficially, like a map without knowledge of the terrain. In my work, I have explored dreams, slips of the tongue, and the inner conflicts that define human experience. I have found that men are often driven not by reason alone, but by unconscious motivations they scarcely recognize. Ambition, guilt, love, and fear, these invisible forces guide decisions, relationships, and actions in ways that deliberate reflection may fail to anticipate. To live without understanding these forces is to navigate a complex world blindly. You value moderation, rational action, and ethical clarity. Yet how can one consistently act in accordance with virtue if one is unaware of the hidden desires that pull at the soul? The mind, like the ocean, has currents below the surface. The waves we see above are only part of the story. Discipline alone may restrain action temporarily, but without insight into these deep forces, it cannot cultivate true wisdom. Consider the dreams that reveal repressed thoughts, the fears that shape behavior, and the internal conflicts that determine moral choices. Understanding the mind does not diminish virtue, it strengthens it. It equips a man to anticipate weakness, confront guilt, and act with authenticity rather than mere obedience to rules. Knowledge of the self includes knowledge of both conscious and unconscious forces. Seneca, the soul is not an isolated engine of rational virtue. It is a complex, dynamic system influenced by memories, instincts, and hidden desires. A life of wisdom must therefore begin with an honest examination of the mind's depths. Only by acknowledging and understanding the unconscious can a man hope to achieve the clarity, self-control, and ethical strength you advocate. I am Sigmund Freud, and I argue that to truly master life, one must first explore the mind, confront the unconscious, and recognize that the unseen forces within often shape destiny as much as conscious reason does.
Freud, your study of the mind, its hidden drives, and the unconscious impulses that shape human behavior is fascinating and illuminating. There is no question that understanding oneself is a profound endeavor. Yet I must insist, knowledge of the mind alone does not equate to wisdom, nor does awareness of desire guarantee virtue. Observation without mastery risks leaving the soul vulnerable to the very forces it seeks to understand. You emphasize that hidden desires and repressed thoughts govern much of our conduct. I agree, yet I assert that the greatest strength lies not only in understanding these forces, but in governing them. To live rightly, a man must temper passion with reason, control impulses with discipline, and act in accordance with virtue, regardless of the unseen currents within. The mind can reveal, but wisdom directs. A person may know their fears, their hidden motivations, and their repressed desires, yet remain enslaved by them. Knowledge without practice is insufficient. Philosophy teaches that self-discipline, ethical reflection, and adherence to reason are the shields that allow insight to be applied rightly. Awareness of the mind's workings is valuable, but it must be joined with action guided by virtue, or it risks becoming mere curiosity or even obsession. You speak of dreams, the unconscious, and inner conflict. I do not dismiss these, but I contend that a disciplined life allows one to respond to these challenges wisely. Serenity is not avoidance. It is the preparation that enables insight to translate into ethical and effective behavior. The man who masters himself is not blind to his impulses. He observes them, tempers them, and acts justly despite them. Freud, understanding the psyche, may illuminate why humans err, but wisdom shows how to act rightly in spite of error. Observation without virtue can reveal weakness. Mastery without insight risks arrogance. The ideal life blends reflection with discipline. We see clearly, we know the mind, yet we act with reason, justice, and integrity. Thus, while I respect your work in uncovering the hidden layers of human thought, I argue that true mastery of life lies in applying reason and virtue to what is observed within and without. Knowledge is the map, but discipline is the compass. Without it, the mind may wander aimlessly, even when fully understood. I am Seneca, and I assert that wisdom, guided by virtue and disciplined action, is the path to living rightly, even in the face of the mind's most complex and hidden forces.
Seneca, I respect your insistence on discipline, virtue, and rational living. Yet I must emphasize that without understanding the mind's hidden forces, discipline alone may be misguided. A man may act according to reason, yet be driven by unconscious fears, desires, or unresolved conflicts he scarcely comprehends. Knowledge of these forces is not optional. It is essential to ensure that wisdom is genuine, not superficial. I have explored dreams, slips, and inner conflicts to illuminate how these unseen currents shape behavior. To deny their influence is to risk acting with incomplete awareness. Virtue guided only by conscious thought may falter when unconscious motives intervene. Observation of the mind allows one to anticipate these forces, to transform hidden impulses into conscious understanding, and to act with authenticity rather than illusion. You argue that mastery directs insight. I agree, but insight must come first. Discipline without knowledge may enforce restraint, but it cannot cultivate true self-awareness. The man who masters himself yet ignores his subconscious risks living under illusions, reacting mechanically rather than wisely. Understanding the mind's depths enables discipline to be applied meaningfully, turning virtue into informed, deliberate action. Seneca, curiosity about the psyche does not weaken virtue, it strengthens it. Confronting fear, desire, and conflict within allows a man to act with true clarity and integrity. Observation is not passive, it is preparation, enlightenment, and the foundation upon which discipline can stand firm. Only by integrating insight with practice can one live rightly, fully aware of both the world and the inner currents that shape it. I am Sigmund Freud, and I contend that to achieve authentic wisdom, one must explore the mind, confront the unconscious, and ensure that discipline is informed by understanding, not blind adherence.
Freud, your exploration of the unconscious, your meticulous attention to hidden drives and desires, reveals truths about human nature that cannot be ignored. Yet I assert that understanding alone does not guarantee a life well lived. A man may know his impulses, yet without virtue and discipline, he remains enslaved to them. Knowledge must be guided by reason to achieve wisdom. Observation illuminates, but mastery directs. A disciplined mind provides clarity, ethical guidance, and resilience against misjudgment or the sway of emotion. The insights you reveal into the unconscious are powerful tools, but without application through reason and moral action, they risk being knowledge without purpose. Wisdom requires both understanding and the practice of virtue. You say awareness ensures authenticity. I say discipline ensures correctness. To live rightly is not merely to know the self, but to govern it. Reflection without action is incomplete. Insight without discipline may lead astray. The Stoic life teaches that understanding is valuable only when it informs action guided by virtue, patience, and moral clarity. Freud, curiosity and inquiry illuminate the mind's landscape, but wisdom resides in choosing rightly within it. The greatest freedom comes from governing oneself, to observe, to reflect, and to act with reason. The disciplined mind transforms observation into virtue, knowledge into ethical action, and insight into a life lived rightly. I am Seneca, and I argue that self-mastery, guided by virtue and reason, ensures that the truths revealed by the mind are not merely known, but rightly lived.
Subscribe now and comment below. Who do you think won this debate of principles? Tonight, we witness Sigmund Freud, the pioneer of psychoanalysis who explored the depth of the human mind, versus Seneca, the Stoic philosopher who taught that true wisdom comes from discipline, virtue, and rational living. Understanding the mind reveals hidden forces, but mastery guides how we respond. One seeks insight into the psyche, the other cultivates the soul. Reflect, compare, and decide. Which path inspires your own journey?